Welcome to The Briefing, your weekly debrief of top news by the Arizona Republic and azcentral.com. I'm Rafael Carranza. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's begin this week with the top 3 things you need to know. More arrests could be coming in the fatal beating of 16-year-old Preston Lord. Prosecutors have charged 3 juveniles and 4 adults with murder and kidnapping charges stemming from the October beating in Queen Creek. Those arrests came hours after a grand jury handed out indictments. All 7 are in custody under a $1 million bond. The 3 juveniles will be tried as adults. For the latest on this fast-developing case, head to AZ Central. Jury selection will begin Thursday in the trial of a border rancher accused of killing a Mexican migrant at his Nogales area ranch. George Allen Kelly faces second-degree murder and aggravated assault charges. Prosecutors say Kelly shot a Mexican man in the back last year as he was running for his life. Kelly's lawyer says the rancher fired warning shots above the heads of a group of migrants moving through his ranch. More than 1.4 million APS customers will notice an average of $10 to $12 increase in their monthly utilities starting this month. It's part of a rate hike approved by the Arizona Corporation Commission, which regulates utilities. The hike is expected to generate $253 million for APS. The company says the money will cover improvements and other expenses to service growing demand in Metro Phoenix. Our main story this week are skyrocketing rent hikes. Phoenix led the nation in rental increases since the pandemic. Real estate reporter Catherine Reagor breaks it down for us.
Metro Phoenix is experiencing an apartment boom. Construction crews began work last year on more than 20,000 units. But that has done little to solve a major problem brewing in the valley. Rent prices have climbed out of control, and they are pricing more people out of places to live. Since 2021, the cost to rent an apartment in the Phoenix metro area jumped by more than 30%. And as more people move here, competition for apartments is stiff. Average rent prices are below the national average, but it varies city to city within the valley. Average rent for a 2-bedroom apartment in the West Valley is almost $500 less than in Scottsdale, the priciest area. Some renters have seen monthly costs soar by up to $750 during the past few years. That's a month. Higher rents are squeezing out the people who can afford those hikes the least. It's putting more people at risk of homelessness. Already, eviction filings reached the highest levels since the housing crash in Arizona nearly 20 years ago. There is some relief on the horizon. Monthly rents have dipped about 5% this year in Metro Phoenix. But if we keep growing at rates we have seen during the past few years, and forecasts are for the valley to do that, rents could climb again. Reporting for The Briefing, I'm Catherine Reagor.
A new lawsuit filed by the Arizona Attorney General's office accuses a software company of conspiring with several landlords to raise rent for Arizona renters. Joining us is Arizona Attorney General Kris Mayes. Thank you so much for being in the studio with us.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Thank you so much. And so to begin, how is the software company RealPage and these 9 landlords conspiring to squeeze out money from Arizona renters?
So what we are alleging is that RealPage and about 9 major landlords in Arizona conspired with one another, colluded with one another to raise rents, basically systematically over a number of years. And they did this by using what RealPage sort of engineered and pioneered, a software package that allowed all the landlords to feed proprietary data, including what units they were renting, what the square footage was, other details about those units into the software and its algorithm. And then RealPage would then take all that information from all these different landlords and set the rent for the landlords. And then they encourage those landlords not to come down from that rent price. So by doing that, they artificially inflated the cost of the price of rent basically throughout the valley and in Tucson as well. And that's just price fixing. That's just old-fashioned price fixing using new technology, and it's illegal under Arizona's antitrust laws, and we're also alleging that they violated the Consumer Fraud Act.
And so how much are we talking about when we say, inflating prices? Do you have like an average number of how much the increase was?
So, great question. And some of those numbers will come out through discovery in the lawsuit and in litigation. But, to give you a sense of the scale of this, we did a regression analysis across about 30,000 units, apartments. And it showed that those apartments that were having the rent set by this RealPage algorithm were 12%, 12 to 13% higher than landlords that were not using RealPage. So you can see that this was a huge part of our affordability crisis in Arizona, because you couldn't throw a rock without hitting a building. You could probably see some of them right around here, without hitting a building that was using this algorithm to artificially inflate rent.
So if this lawsuit is successful, could that mean that we could see lower rents for renters in Arizona?
I hope so. So two things. Great question. Two things. Number one, I hope that this serves as a deterrent to these landlords, because these are some of the biggest landlords around. Graystar, Trammell Crow. They shouldn't be using this software in this way. They shouldn't be artificially keeping rents high. So the other thing we want to do is, get a court to say to them, if they don't voluntarily stop using this algorithm, we want a court to order them to stop using the algorithm. And we also are going to try to go after civil penalties on behalf of the state against them.
And can you also share with us what kind of resources are available out there for people who are struggling, to make ends meet or to pay their rent?
There are a number of different nonprofits that can help, and that's something that I think that we would like to sort of maybe think about providing those resources on our website. We're also asking people if they think they're in a building where RealPage is being used, contact our office and file a complaint with us so we know about it, so we know that you're someone we can get restitution to.
Thank you so much, Attorney General, for joining us.
Thank you.
As you heard, the Attorney General's office is encouraging renters to file a complaint. You can find more details about the lawsuit or how to file that complaint by visiting AZ Central.
The Arizona Republic. Here for it. Are you?
This week's Sunspot are new census numbers indicating a successful recovery for a near-extinct animal in Arizona. State and federal wildlife agencies counted 257 Mexican gray wolves living in Arizona and New Mexico, according to the annual stats released this month. This is the 8th consecutive year of growth for these endangered canines. Mexican gray wolves were largely eliminated from the wild in the 1970s, but they were reintroduced to protected areas of Arizona and New Mexico in the 90s. There are 56 packs living in this lands south of Interstate 40. Arizona is home to 113 Mexican gray wolves. Despite the yearly gains, the number of wolves in the last census still falls short, well below the threshold to take them off the endangered species list. Thank you for joining us on The Briefing, your weekly debrief of top news by the Arizona Republic and AZ Central. Have a great week.